Burns. There are three different types of burns essentially. First type is a superficial burn. That's when it's really red and really sore. Most of us will have done that in the kitchen or at home. The second type of burn is a partial thickness burn. Slightly more severe, causes blisters, which are usually full of fluid. And lastly, full thickness burns. A lot more rarer. Skin becomes quite charred, maybe waxy. Essentially not very painful because the nerves have been severely damaged by the burn. So what do we do about it? Firstly, we need to acknowledge how big is the actual burn site? Where has it burned? Is it in a life-threatening area like the face or the airway or even the eyes? We can estimate the size of a burn really simply. Most of us will have heard of percentages, for example. My hand and my fingers is 1% of my body. So essentially, I've got 100 coverages of this of my body. So that's 1%. Treatment for burns is very simple. It's kind of common sense. We're going to run the burned area underneath the tap, running cold water for at least 10 minutes. Or it's sufficient that as we withdraw, the pain is gone. If it's still painful when you take it out after 10 minutes, then reapply the water for a further 10 minutes. Whilst we're cooling the burn, it is important to consider removing any clothing that is not stuck to the burn site. This would also include watches, bangles, wedding rings for example. Once the area has been cooled and is no longer painful, it may well be that we can self-treat at home. Or we may need to put it in cling film and take them down to accident emergency. If the burn is of a sufficient size or is causing other complications, it may well be wise then to dial 999 and get emergency medical services to come and treat on scene and transfer to hospital. Don't apply anything other than water, cling film or burns gel from your first aid kit. Don't pop blisters. This will encourage potential infection and increase the risk of shock. In the case of chemical burns, it's imperative that we fully understand the implications of the chemicals that we're using. Therefore, should water be used? If so, how long? Recommended time value for that is 20 minutes. Firstly diluting and then treating the actual wound site. All of these natures of burns will need to go to hospital.